right, here we go. 2023 Indian Pursuit. The pursuit of happiness. We finally have a competitor to the Harley-Davidson Road Glide Limited. This, my friends, is the 2023 Indian Pursuit. Today I'm going to give you my first impressions. I'm also going to tell you pros and cons about this motorcycle as I see it, and I'm going to tell you how this bike actually stacks up against the Road Glide Limited in a future video, so make sure that you're subscribed for that. Now, before we get started, big thanks to American Biker here in Lansing, South Carolina for letting me come out and get a first look on this new motorcycle that we've been waiting on for over a year now. So super excited to actually get into the saddle. I'm gonna obviously ride it, and we're gonna talk about things off the bike and on the bike to give you my overall opinion. Let's go ahead and get into it. So I was talking to Rob here at American Biker. That's who you want to see, by the way, if you're looking at a brand new Indian, used Harley, or any of the multiple bikes that they actually have here. And these things come in a multitude of different flavors. So you have the Dark Horse, you have the Limited, which is what we're reviewing today. You have the Dark Horse with Premium Package and the Limited with Premium Package. Some of the differences I'm going to actually highlight in a short right here on YouTube and TikTok as well. Just to give you an idea of what some of those things look like and maybe touch on some of them today. Now, I've reviewed the Challenger so many times on this channel that we're not going to get into every single thing on this bike. This is basically a Challenger with some add-ons that they've put from the factory. But let's start up at the front. You, of course, have the Challenger fairing, full LEDs all the way around. And when Indian says full LEDs, they actually mean it. This one also comes with the Pathfinder LED, which basically is adaptive. So if you're leaning to the left, leaning to the right, it's going to give you additional lighting either way. You obviously have this Spirit Blue metallic paint, which is super loud, right? So it gives you, it's almost like a purple in certain lighting conditions. Inverted front forks, Brembo brakes. This wheel right here is one of the best looking wheels they've ever put on an Indian. Hands down. I love the contrast and the cuts in it. You have a little bit of like brushed aluminum look in there. And then you also have that deep, dark gunmetal gray. Absolutely a huge fan of that wheel. And it's rocking the Metzler Cruise Tech tires. Now let's talk about one of the things they added on here, obviously the lower fairing. Now this one is a little bit more basic, but they do have the pods here. So if you want to add lights to this, you absolutely can. First of all, that windshield is a little bit too tall. You can't go down any further. You can go up, but you can't go down. Now all these bikes have adjustable windshields. This one is going to come with a little taller windshield. Obviously it's meant to put down serious miles on the road. So this is something that you're going to get. And again, it is adjustable as well. Since we're doing the Indian Pursuit, this is the perfect time to tell you about one of the coolest watches that I've ever worn. This is from Original Grain, and these guys essentially take reclaimed aluminum from the crankcases of Indian motors and actually put them into their watches. So the one I'm wearing right here is the Indian Speedway. It's actually sealed into the links on the watch itself. Some of the aluminum from the crankcases is sealed on the bezel, depending on the model that you actually go with. By the way, they have 3 of them. They're limiting these watches to 250 per model. So they actually will be numbered on the back of them, and they are an official Indian and Original Grain product. They do a multitude of different things. So it's not just motorcycles. They've teamed with Toyota to do a TRD watch. They have whiskey barrel watches, Taylor guitars, and a host of other things. So it's really cool to have a company that makes an awesome watch, but also incorporates it with something that you're super interested in as well. They're a veteran-owned company. They've been doing this for a decade, and what they're giving my community right here is 30% off. So if you're a fan of Indian motorcycles, like I am, you can use the code INDIAN30 to save quite a bit of money on these exclusive watches. I'll leave all the details with the link in the description box below. Big thanks to Original Grain for including me on this exclusive brand deal they have with Indian motorcycles. All right, we have a 6-gallon tank, and then coming back, this is where most of the magic in the Pursuit actually is. You have heated grips, but not a heated seat on this model, but you have a good padding here for your hunting. So Like I said, in some of the Softail models and even like the Chief Bobber, if your wife or girlfriend or significant other is in this right here, she's not going to leave you. If you're in one of the Softail models and you keep the stock seat, she may leave you. So if you're trying to keep your wife or girlfriend, this is the way you want to go. Obviously, you have the Tour Pack as well, so this is going to give you a lot more storage and make it more comfortable for your passenger. These speaker pods look really cool. Mrs. Heckshot, that's something that she actually likes. She's shaking her head behind the camera, so that is a really awesome design, and you get additional sound right there for your passenger too. And then we get to this. So I'm actually a fan of how this opens up. Obviously you can't do it with your passenger on there, but it is kind of nice and convenient there. You get a decent amount of storage. You have a little 12-volt outlet in here as well. And obviously this is nice, man. You could put probably a couple of helmets. Well, hell, let's try it out really quick. I actually have an attachment for my GoPro on mine. So obviously it'll fit the one. Let's see if it fits. Okay, so I guess if you have two regular helmets, I would imagine this would fit. Well, I don't know. Let's see. Let's try it. Just enough where it won't latch there with this specific helmet, but obviously a regular helmet, you could have two of those in there and it would fit. So that's pretty cool, man. You get a good amount of storage on the inside of here. You get the luggage rack on top, and then obviously these bikes are awesome. One of the best features on the Challenger and Chieftains for that matter is the fact that you can hit a button and everything locks, and of course that includes your Tour Pack as well. Full LEDs in the rear up here and down below. So you can detach this, it's a quick detach, you pull this right off and boom, you're ready to roll. So you almost have a stripped down Challenger. Now, one of the beautiful things about this bike is it has the hydraulically adjusted Fox shock, but you cannot do it electronically through the screen up there like you can the Elite. But if you go with the premium package, there's another addition to that. Two additional things that you're going to get on this bike that you won't on other versions of, you know, your Challengers and stuff like that is your passenger is pretty well maintained on this bike. Not only does her ass get a better seat to sit in, but she also gets the full floorboards. And one huge thing here, you get these saddlebag guards too, man. I like the fact that this actually comes with that. My opinion, they should all come with that, but you know, that's neither here nor there. We got lots more to talk about, man. Let me get my helmet on and let's get on this sucker. All right, I got Jen here. She's gonna be our camera girl. You ready to do this? All right, let's go. All right, here we go. 2023 Indian Pursuit, the pursuit of happiness. But this is it, man. There's quite a few things that I want to talk about here. I got Mrs. Heckshot helping me out so we can actually get this thing you know, done. As far as first impressions, we're talking about 15 miles here, okay? I'm not talking about a full-length review. Regardless, I will at least be able to give you those first impressions. First of all, that windshield is a little bit too tall. You can't go down any further. You can go up, but you can't go down. Now, this bike, as expected, has the Power Plus motor. So 128 foot-pounds of torque and 122 horsepower. This is my favorite motor that Indian makes. Actually, between Harley and Indian, it's my favorite motor that either one of them make so far. We have the 121 coming from Harley. Interested to see that. But so far, this is it. It's a liquid cooled motor with a lot of power in it, man. So really a huge fan of that. Let's talk about the seating position. It is the cream of the crop when it comes to Indians and comfort, right? I have a little bit of support on my lower back there because of the seat. It's a nice plush seat. It's one of the better ones from the factory, in my opinion. And we'll get Miss Heckshot's opinion on her seating position after we actually get off the bike. The bike feels very light. Now, I can pretty much flat foot this bike too, by the way. That's cool. That's something I cannot do on the Road Glide Limited, by the way. That clutch is really smooth, man. I appreciate that. These tires are brand new, so I don't want to really push it. Seat height is 26.5 inches. So, you know, essentially you have a big touring machine. This one's like 872 pounds, right, with the tour pack. So that's pretty good. And yet you have a seat height of 26.5 inches. So that's one thing that I love about these bikes. I'm 5'7", right? And so I'm able to flat foot the bike no problem. So it really adds confidence, especially if you want a big touring motorcycle. I'm a fan of baggers. You know, I have one bike, and if you have one bike, in my opinion, my one bike has to be a bagger. So if you are, you know, for whatever reason intimidated because of size and weight, this could be a good option for you because they don't feel like almost 900 pounds coming off the kickstand. Now, a lot of this stuff is things that are specific to the Challenger. I've done a lot of work with the Challenger, so you can check out some of those other reviews. But we have a 6-gallon tank. We have the ride command here, which is going to give us a lot of options here, all right, as far as our ride modes. So we have rain, standard, and sport. That's going to change the throttle response significantly, okay? All your controls over here, high beam, low beam, horn. You also have your turn signals on the one side. Interesting enough, I'm getting some heat down there by my feet. I don't know why, but I am. Yeah, it's heating up right through my shoe. That's kind of wild. This Power Plus is a monster, dude. Let's see, I don't even know what this is right here. Okay, so that will go through different options for us. We're of course going to get it on the interstate because that's where this thing really shines. Let's see. Okay, so this is kind of navigation controls and stuff. On the right hand side we have our one-touch starting system. We have our cruise control and then our windshield adjustment right there. So the controls are fairly easy. I mean, there's not a lot to them. If you're used to Harley Davidsons, you might think, oh man, it's going to take a long time to get used to that. Really, it's not. The biggest thing I found an issue with really is the, not even really an issue, but just something to get used to is like the turn signals, okay? Fifth gear right there. Of course, it's a 6-speed transmission. We're getting a little bit of drizzle here, not too bad. Going 80 miles an hour, and just like the Challenger, this thing holds the road so good. And so with that taller windscreen and with the lowers, you're going to be able to get a bunch of wind protection. Some people say serious miles is 1,000 a day. Some people say 500 miles, whatever. Regardless, you're able to keep a lot of the wind off of you. And really, it could be I'm feeling that exhaust because of the lower fairings down there. There's nowhere for that exhaust heat to really go. So that could be why I'm feeling it down there so much. This bike is so smooth, man. We're pushing almost 4,000 RPM, so you'll notice that it revs a little higher than Harley. We're in 6th gear now, and we're just over 3,000 RPMs. So it revs a little bit higher, but again, you get more horsepower. It is super torquey all the way through the rev range though, which is really nice. Hey, look, there's our friends at American Biker. Hey, American Biker. Again, big thanks to those guys, man. Rob is my boy. He let me know as soon as this thing came in so we could get this review done, and I'm super appreciative of that. All right, so I want to talk about pros and cons. I want to talk about this compared to the Elite, and we're going to finish this video out. So let's get back to American Biker and do just that. All right, we are done with the test ride of the Pursuit. I wanted to ask you, how was it back here in this beautiful spot?
It's very smooth at low speeds.
Okay.
When you get on the interstate, there's a lot of...
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
This isn't as soft as I thought it would be.
Okay. Interesting. Now, I do remember that with the Chieftain, I had a Chieftain Elite, I believe, and it was like that at high speeds for me.
Very shaky.
But on this bike, it was super smooth. I didn't feel any of that. Well, that's good to know. Let's talk about this versus the Elite. So obviously you get a ton of different options. So the Elite is more like a special or a dark horse upgraded, where you're going to get that look and you're going to get some touring capabilities, of course, but it's all about the look on the Elite. Whereas this one, touring capabilities. Okay, so there's some definite differences there. Let's talk about the pros and cons of the Pursuit. First of all, you know, for $31,000, if you're looking at a limited or dark horse, well, at that point, you might as well just go with this. I mean, it's, you know, it's $3 grand more, $4 grand more, whatever it is. You know, at that point, I don't know. I guess it just depends on what you're going for. But you still get the styling with this bike with the additional tour pack that you can just snatch right off. So it is a good option as far as that. One of the cons I want to mention, because Jen mentioned it, is that you know, she was getting some buffeting and stuff in the back at higher speeds. I'm really surprised, man, that she said that. But hey, we want to put it in there as a con because this is about the driver and the passenger on a bike like this. So
Smooth at like around town, it's very smooth. Indians are very smooth.
Yeah, I like the weight of it too. It's super light.
It is very light.
And like I said, on the bike, you can flat foot this bike and have a relatively short inseam as well. This right here, this is a good amount of space. I think the Harley has a bigger one though. I'm pretty sure you can fit more in the Harley. So it's a little bit smaller. I like the way it opens up. I don't necessarily like the way it closes. Like, you really gotta, there we go. You just gotta slam it down, I guess. That's not a huge deal. The way they do the bracket, this is just me, an aesthetic thing. I don't really like this. This is the bracket for your docking hardware. Not a fan. And I also got some exhaust heat from right there, and that's because of this here. I would rather have it on my feet though than I would on my inner thigh, and I didn't get anything on my inner thigh, so that's really good. Another thing that I like about these bikes is that rear cylinder deactivation kicks on quickly. The ride modes help you change up the feel of the bike depending on the situation you're in. The weight was worth it. The payoff is there. What Indian wanted to do. To me, the whole experience was smooth. I didn't notice any of that, thankfully. And man, I'm really surprised that she said that, but she has no reason to lie about it. So it is what it is there. The motor, this is great, dude. This would be better as a dark horse, but that's just me. I'm also not a fan of this. I'll take the Indian head any day of the week. I just think it would look so much better on there. Regardless, man, all in all, if I had to rate this as a touring machine, personally, I'd give it a 9 out of 10 because that motor is so freaking smooth, at least for the rider. There you go, man. The payoff, I think it was worth it. This is a true competitor to the Road Glide Limited, and that video is coming very soon on the channel. So again, if you like what I do here, consider subscribing. Make sure you hit your notifications so you never miss a video from me. Big thanks to you guys for joining me. See you in the next one, and as always, hold them down.